There's an unnatural and global epidemic currently spreading around the world. By now, you've probably heard about something called the coronavirus. But what is it exactly? How and where did it originate? Did this virus really spread from a seafood market in China? Or is there more to this story that's hidden in plain sight? Did you know that just 8 miles from the epicenter of the outbreak lies a biosafety laboratory housing other viruses? What else could the Chinese government be hiding from the world? And why is the media downplaying such an important issue? What are the people of China and in other parts of the world saying about the coronavirus? And is there already a cure? Or is this just a distraction? What else could the Chinese government be covering up? Be informed on this and more on our special report, 2019 NCOV Coronavirus, only on the Edge of Wonder.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Edge of Wonder. We are your hosts. I'm Ben.
And I'm Rob. So we know you guys have been waiting for our take on the coronavirus, and there's so much more info coming out each day, we needed time to go through everything.
With all the craziness surrounding the coronavirus, we thought we'd shed some light on the subject and give you guys all the Edge of Wonder perspective. There is a lot of misinformation being spread along with many conspiracies, so we dug through it all and will present what we found.
Yeah, which means we're going to give you guys a much deeper look into this thing that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Or in other words, present you with what the mainstream media are not saying. However, the questions on everyone's mind is how dangerous is this virus, and was this virus a natural outbreak or something much darker?
You mean like bat soup?
Which we'll be getting into.
And if so, what would be the purpose and why? We'll also get into what role the mainstream media has played and if and how they have any economic ties to the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP for short.
Right, but before we get into all of that, first let's look into what this virus even is and where it came from.
Coronaviruses are a group of respiratory viruses that can cause symptoms like a runny nose, cough, sore throat, and fever. Pretty much your common cold symptoms.
According to the Center for Disease Control, the coronavirus gets its name from the crown-like spikes on its surface. Corona is the Latin word for...
beer.
Not really. Crown.
The CDC also states that there are a total of 7 coronaviruses that can infect humans. Other well-known coronaviruses include SARS and MERS.
According to the official report put out by the CCP officials, they think that the coronavirus began when someone ate bat soup at an animal and seafood market in the city of Wuhan, China, and has spread to several other countries, including the United States.
The real question is, why were there bats at an animal market in the first place? Why in the world would anyone think eating bat soup is a good idea? I know they eat weird things in China, but really, bat soup? Okay, so the first report was that it was a snake, but then later it changed to a bat. So we don't know really which one it was first.
Yeah, well, before we get into the meat of this batty story...
That is a grandpa joke. I'm calling you out on that one.
Okay, let's break down exactly who the CCP is and why we should question any official statements from them.
Anyway, for those of you who watch our channel, many of you are fully aware of our communism series where we expose the CCP's violent history. And as you know, it first started with Mao killing millions of Chinese people to get control of the country.
In our series, we talked about how Mao allowed and even aided the Japanese forces to invade China during World War II to specifically wipe out the KMT party, which was the Chinese Nationalist Party.
Once Mao had full control, he soon thought that China had too many people and wished to eliminate anyone who wouldn't go along with his bidding. This is where the famine, political deaths, and forcing friends and family to turn on each other came about. And that sentence doesn't even cover how awful it all was.
Yeah, it really doesn't. Religion was the last thing he went after, and he did this by forcing monks and priests to rewrite religious books or add things to them. Anyone who was against this was either killed or disgraced, and those that agreed were turned into party members.
This is why religion today in China has been a hot topic regarding persecution and scandals. All of the big churches and temples are run by officials who are Communist Party members first, and clergymen second.
For example, many of the teachings of Jesus are left out of the Bible or even rewritten based on what the party likes. There are underground churches in China where people are being arrested and tortured simply because they have the Western version of the Bible, which hasn't been approved by the CCP.
Also, in the early 90s, the spiritual practice Falun Gong came out, which teaches that there are divine beings watching over us and that we must live by the universal principles of truth, compassion, and tolerance.
This goes against everything the party stands for, such as lies, corruption, and violence, so the party sees it as a threat to its very existence since it teaches people to be kind.
This is why they launched a massive persecution against the practice and actually built hospitals with the purpose of murdering Falun Gong practitioners to harvest their organs for live transplants.
Yeah, and the belief in God also goes against the party narrative, where you must worship and thank the party first before any God or belief. To them, it's okay to believe in God, but you must register your belief with the party, and the party must come first over God.
Right. In other words, at the dinner table, you must thank the party for giving you food, shelter, and a life in China. It is the party that gave this to you and not God. Do y'all see where this is going?
Yeah. Sadly, all of this is still going on today and affecting so many people in China and ruining lives, families, and forcing people to leave the country while never being able to see their family members again.
We have to explain this to you to give you some background story on how the evil CCP has been throughout the years. Also, the party is always great, correct, and glorious. It's never wrong, never makes mistakes, and if it does change anything, it's not because it was wrong, but because they want to make the party better.
Right. So, the Communist Party never makes a mistake, ever. Even if it's painfully clear that at least 80 million people died since the party's inception, it is still correct. And the person or persons who pointed it out is either jailed, persecuted, or killed. Because, again, the party is always correct.
For example, the CCP wanted to build new hotels and stadiums for the 2008 Olympics, but of course, people refused to move. I mean, it was their homes. So they did what any communist regime would do, and they just bulldozed their homes, even with the people inside them. And when the people went to petition, they were all arrested.
Right. Because of course it was their own fault for being in their homes in the first place when they were bulldozed. I mean, right?
No
They were
property
born.
in communism.
How messed up can a government get? Really? How can they even get away with this?
Well, because the entire system is corrupt from the top down, there is no way to fix communism. You can really only end it and do something honorable. It's the most corrupt system on the planet. So how can we possibly trust it with a deadly virus or anything it says about it?
Seriously, how can you trust it when it comes to world issues? The party only cares for the party and truly wants to own the world. This is why China is spending billions upon billions, 125 billion to be exact, in Africa. They're buying land, rare metals, and doing business there so African leaders will in return support China.
And guess who is the president of the World Health Organization? Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus from Eritrea. And what the mainstream isn't putting together is that China is building a Silk Road type of situation all through Africa and even working with Eritrea, which ironically came out around the same month as the virus.
Yeah, and also interestingly enough, he is so far the only foreign official Xi Jinping met with since the outbreak was first heard about. So is China covering up the truth about this virus? And what about the World Health Organization as well?
Also, what is it about this patent for the virus that people keep talking about?
Right, so the patent of the coronavirus was filed in July 2015 and granted in 2018.
Quote, the present invention provides a live, attenuated coronavirus comprising a variant replicus gene encoding polyproteins compromising a mutation in one or more of non-structural proteins NSP-10, NSP-14, NSP-15, or NSP-16. The coronavirus may be used as a vaccine for treating and/or preventing a disease such as infectious bronchitis in a subject. I mean, come on. First of all, how did I say that paragraph? Second, what are they doing using this in a vaccine?
However, according to the Purbite Institute, the coronavirus, the patent they had was only for bird viruses, not for the human viruses.
Gotcha.
Now, Jordan Sather is getting torn apart by the mainstream media for saying Bill Gates founded the virus. BuzzFeed had a crazy hit piece article which actually doesn't provide all of the facts.
BuzzFeed then quotes Teresa Maughan, I probably butchered that, a spokesperson for Purbite, which says, quote, not only does the patent in question not involve a coronavirus strain that affects humans, but the Institute's work with the virus wasn't funded by the Gates Foundation.
However, they make it sound like Bill Gates never donated, which is actually incorrect. Because even on the Pirbright's website, it states this, quote, the Institute is strategically funded by the Biotechnology and Biological Sciences Research Council, part of the UK Research and Innovation BBSRC UKRI, and also receives funding from many other organizations, including Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
I mean, they then go on to say, quote, the coronavirus first identified in Wuhan, China, earlier this year is a new coronavirus, the 7th coronavirus identified that is able to infect humans. The exact origin of the new virus is unknown, unquote, ...
Then they go on to say this. The exact origin of the new virus is unknown, but initial confirmation shared by China and the World Health Organization, or WHO, indicates that this new virus is genetically similar to a SARS-like coronavirus found in bats.
Now, we already stated that China and WHO have a very close relationship, so how can we possibly trust them since they're the ones who are telling the world what's going on with the virus?
The Chinese Communist Party won't even allow any other scientists into China to study this or even help. They are still refusing to allow American experts into the country to help study and respond to the new coronavirus outbreak.
This is according to Dr. Nancy Messonnier, quote, the CDC experts are standing by, ready to go to China, unquote.
The fact that China is only taking action and announcing that they are fighting this could mean that it is more serious than they are saying.
I mean, why not allow medical experts to assist you unless you're worried they might find something out? Like, say, I don't know, that it's out of control?
Another scary factor in which some media are failing to report on is how the Chinese Communist Party tried to cover up the SARS epidemic back in 2003. But soon, so many people were dying that they had no choice but to make it public and come up with some excuse.
In fact, New Tang Dynasty Television, or NTD-TV, was the first media to report on the virus after getting first-hand information from reporters inside China at the time. And this was before no media would report on it because they were either waiting for the official mouthpiece propaganda by the CCP or didn't think it was happening.
So if the CCP lied about SARS, how can we trust that they aren't lying about the coronavirus outbreak? Also, after just spending a few hours researching, many reporters will find so many holes within the CCP's official report that they should be demanding answers as well.
But listening to the official report by the CCP and believing in those numbers like the mainstream media are doing would be the same as believing in the official statement that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself.
Yeah, and if you believe that, you believe that old Bill Clinton had no relationship with him whatsoever, beside for the fact that he traveled on a jet 26 times, but
26 times.
At least.
Jeez.
And then we just heard reports about what China is saying, or the Chinese government is saying to its people.
Oh yeah, they're actually telling everyone in China that the virus came from America. Because, you know, if they're not going to throw their own party under the bus, might as well throw the other superpower in the world under the bus so that you can eventually take over with all your dead citizens because you're not doing anything about this virus. All right, anyway, but if you question the official numbers coming out of China, all of a sudden you're a conspiracy theorist spreading fake propaganda who needs to be censored or taken off social media.
Yeah, like Facebook and YouTube are doing right now. Even now, tons of videos, articles, and recordings are coming out from people in China showing how bad it is.
But it all comes down to dollars.
Facebook is still trying to get into China, and all the mainstream media have branches inside China.
So economically, it's in their best interest not to upset China too much and knowingly lie to the American people so that the money is flowing into their bank accounts and pockets.
Yep. So why are the mainstream media not using these videos coming out of China, and why is social media deleting videos, tweets, and banning pages such as Zero Hedge, along with slandering Epoch Times for actually publishing videos coming right out of Wuhan, China?
Money, 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 money.
Yeah.
Money. Well, actually, some of the videos coming out are ones like this, which shows what appears to be doctors forcing a man without a shirt on into a van who is fighting against them. Standing on the side are police with medical attire, so why are the police there?
Yeah, and also ones like this, which show dead bodies in bags, people in hospitals with dead bodies and sick people all around them, along with videos of bodies lying dead in the street.
In this one, the caption says that the local government is not counting these bodies as people who had the virus since they're already dead, because that really makes sense.
Right.
Every day, more and more videos are coming out, and we're posting these on our own Twitter accounts to show people what's actually happening.
One of the sadder videos shows the emergency ward becoming a mortuary as city officials create makeshift cremations in secret to burn all of the bodies that are affected, which most likely aren't part of the official count. Otherwise, why would they be secretly burning the bodies, right?
There are some uplifting ones though, such as this one, which shows people in Wuhan having cabin fever and shouting out their window saying "Jiao you Wuhan," which would be like us saying never give up or like keep fighting Wuhan.
Mm-hmm. However, many of the articles being published are just as heartbreaking. Epoch Times has been one of the leading medias in exposing the coronavirus and have been publishing videos, articles, and using social media nearly every hour.
One of them they published shows this photo. What does it look like to you? If you thought a prison, you'd be correct, except this isn't a prison. It's a new hospital just for people who have the virus.
And that isn't all. The medical staff working here is the People's Liberation Army, and only patients assigned by the local government in Wuhan will be admitted.
So wait, why are there bars on the windows again?
I guess they just want to make sure that, people feel protected from break-ins or something.
Oh, how thoughtful of the CCP to protect their citizens from break-ins.
Yeah, I have no idea why someone would want to break into a hospital full of sick people with one of the most deadly viruses on the planet.
I must have this virus! I'm waiting for something China does to make sense here. As for the bars, I'm sure it's not because they're worried people would leave because of horrible conditions and being treated like a sick animal just waiting for them to die.
Right.
Yo, you guys, have you seen what's new on edgeofwonder.tv lately?
We couldn't wait to tell you all about the new awesome content.
Ben could hardly sleep all night. He was so excited.
We want to make edgeofwonder.tv the place to get the best truth content out there.
So what better way than to use our platform to provide a home for other content creators who want to change the future and help people wake up?
We will now host exclusive new series like Ascension Teachings with Peter Maxwell Slattery to discover your spiritual potential.
Worlds Within with Simon Esler delving into modern-day warfare of the mind.
And The Human Experience with Deanne Adamson, whose mission is to help people heal from addictions.
And we're just getting started.
You got that right. Our mission has always been to help people think for themselves and know the truth.
To be in charge of their hearts and their minds and to choose a future of positivity and compassion.
So subscribe now and don't miss a single episode and become truly awake.
And we'll see you out on the edge. There are more stories coming out too every day. Another article talked about how a woman named Chen Yong went to a market to buy fish heads, chicken, and vegetables on January 7th. They use fish heads for soup, in case you don't know.
It's common.
By that evening, she wasn't feeling well and thought it was because she was pregnant.
By January 11th, she was so ill that she was bedridden. However, because she was pregnant, no doctor or hospital would give her anything. Finally, a hospital told her husband that he would need to pay over $2,500 a day for them to take care of his wife. He never saw his wife again after that.
Man. Quote, after my wife went into intensive care, I never saw her again until she turned into ashes. I really couldn't borrow more money, and my wife's condition did not get any better. I was really frustrated, unquote.
The day after his wife died on January 22nd, Chen went to the Wuchang funeral home to retrieve the urn. There were over a dozen people outside just like him waiting for their relatives' remains.
Many netizens who are Chinese citizens online trying to tell the truth wrote things like, quote, "The hospital deliberately didn't diagnose the patient with Wuhan pneumonia in order to earn money because they're supposed to offer free treatment for Wuhan pneumonia. They cremated the body quickly so there was no evidence left," unquote.
According to Wuhan's mayor, as of January 26th, the city has utilized 24 hospitals and a total of 100,000 beds to cope with the growing number of suspected patients. And they even built the so-called prison hospital, right? Yet, if they have so many beds and are claiming only a few thousand are affected, why are so many people in Wuhan being turned away when they go to the hospital for help?
Many reports are claiming people in Wuhan can't get any help because hospitals are full, so none of the official numbers are adding up. Such as a video of this guy in Wuhan who risked his life trying to get the true info out to people.
This guy breaks down everything that is going on in Wuhan, including basic questions. We will play part of it for you here. There is English subtitles because it is something everyone needs to watch.
打那个急救电话120，各位可以试一下，根本就打不通。完全就打不通，一直是盲音。再比方说，你怀疑自个儿是否染上了这次的武汉肺炎吧？你想去医院做一个那个诊断，你根本就去不了，你怎么去？医院人满为患，医生他不叫你去挂号什么的，就排队，你排几个小时可能都不搭理你。我很多内部的在医院工作的朋友给我反馈的信息就是，你进了医院，也就是给你打点消炎药，给你打点激素，说白了，然后一样也是等死。而且眼下这个病毒并不像官方宣传的什么发热咳嗽，而且不发热不发烧，一样也可以传播。而且在封城的前半个月、1个月，返乡春运回去了，已经走了100-200万人了。他们怎么办？你怎么防？要把整个中国都给封住吗？所以我希望所有看到我视频的人真的好好珍惜我发这个视频，真的是太不容易了。我随时都是冒着被抓到公安局派出所的风险，在这里就希望把一些真实的客观的情况告诉大家。我们老百姓真的是很无奈，并不是所有人都被洗脑了，我们也希望是吧，过上那种民主、自由、开放。我们也希望不翻墙就能上 YouTube、上 Twitter， 但问题是根本就做不到。我们能怎样呢？是吧？高房价、高物价、通货膨胀，他们赵家人出了任何问题就捡我们老百姓的韭菜、剪羊毛，大家都看得雪亮的。你看我身边的朋友、同学，只要是有钱的、有能力的、能移民的，早他妈走了。谁都不傻，我们只是没有办法。希望大家帮帮我们。
There's another story of a man who died 2 weeks after going to the hospital, complaining of just shortness of breath. He died of an infected lung and organ failure. His sister in Norway told the Epoch Times that she was being silenced by the Chinese authorities and not allowed to post anything about his death.
She said that if her niece and nephew-in-law doesn't receive treatment soon, she will ask her family in China to protest on the streets against the authorities. But let's get back to the market in Wuhan, in which the official statement is that the virus originated here. But did it really? Also, according to the CCP, the virus started in January. However, reports of people getting sick in China started in December. So why did officials in Wuhan downplay the threat and wait till January to call it an emergency?
Because by the time they imposed the lockdown on travel, they knew that millions of people already left China for Christmas and China's Lunar New Year. So the CCP officials lied to the public to save themselves of blame.
Surprisingly, the New York Times actually had a pretty decent article about the cover-up of the coronavirus, and how back in 2003, Hu Jintao, China's former leader, tried for 3 months to cover up SARS before he realized he couldn't cover it up anymore and came up with some excuse.
Aside from that, no medical personnel would even talk to the press, even when promised anonymity out of fear of reprisals. There's a quote from a reporter from Kaxin who stated, quote, "If all medical workers aren't willing to take a little risk to speak the truth and the media can't report the truth, in the end, everyone, including the doctors, will be victims." That's dark.
Yeah, so why? What are they so afraid of talking about? Could it be that they are worried because the whistleblower doctor who became an online hero in China after warning the public of a SARS-like virus this past December died of the coronavirus in Wuhan?
Yeah, man, he was like 34 years old too. Yeah, and if that isn't telling enough, an article published by Nature in 2017 states, quote, "A laboratory in Wuhan is on the cusp of being cleared to work with the world's most dangerous pathogens. The move is part of a plan to build between 5 and 7 biosafety level 4 labs across the Chinese mainland by 2025 and has generated much excitement as well as concerns, as well as people freaking being infected by the coronavirus."
And is it just a pure coincidence that the lab just happened to be working on a version of the coronavirus? Oh, and let us not forget the 2 Chinese nationals working at the Canadian National Microbiology Lab in Winnipeg who were kicked out of the facility for allegedly stealing samples of viruses to bring back to China.
Oh, and this lab in Canada just so happened to hold the deadly viruses, one of them being the coronavirus. And then I'm sure it's also just a coincidence that they were found to be agents for China's biological warfare program.
And if that isn't enough, one of them by the name of Dr. Xianggo Qiu went to Wuhan National Biosafety Laboratory at least 5 times from 2017 to 2018. And I'm also sure it's just a coincidence that the Wuhan National Biosafety Laboratory is housed at the Chinese military facility Wuhan Institute of Virology, which is linked to China's biological warfare program. Nah.
I'm sure it was all purely a coincidence.
Right.
Right, I mean, it came from a bat, right? So how can all of this be true?
Yeah, and even though bats are in hibernation in the winter, same with other animals like snakes, so maybe a Chinese person went to the bat cave.
The bat cave.
Yeah, and killed a sleeping bat that just happened to have the virus that affected humans, and that's how it spread.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Never mind that a speech Chinese Defense Minister General Chi Haotian said 20 years ago about, quote, "We're not as foolish as to want to perish together with America by using nuclear weapons." The general said, quote, "Only by using non-destructive weapons that can kill many people will we be able to reserve America for ourselves," unquote.
However, this is what some analysts believe. Author J.R. Nyquist published an article in the Epoch Times titled, "Did China's Plan to Destroy the United States Backfire?"
The article states that China might have been secretly developing a bioweapon to use on the United States, but that something went wrong and was accidentally released in China, and how they quickly had to make up a story and get on top of it before the world found out.
And don't forget about the Hong Kong protests, which are still going on and Beijing has been unable to stop.
Right, I mean, that's something else to consider with the timing of all of this. I mean, what better way to break up a protest than to spread a deadly virus? So was this a bioweapon created for this purpose, but actually it backfired?
In any case, the people of Wuhan are suffering so bad from lack of everything, and anyone who is exposing it is being arrested or killed. And why?
New videos are coming out every day on the issue and in other areas in China.
Aside from all of that, there are also many people out there wondering what masks to buy. Sadly, most masks people are wearing won't protect them, such as surgical masks.
The World Health Organization and other experts report that a mask's efficacy in social settings is inconclusive, but some health experts and mask makers say that the N95 masks offer more protection, but they only work if they fit properly and aren't suitable for children or people with facial hair. That's it, Ben. Time to shave.
I don't know. We personally...
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
I don't think we can wear it. But anyway, we personally have friends and family who know people or have other family members that are being directly affected by the virus inside China. So we are doing everything we can to find the truth and get the truth out there.
Yeah, and we urge reporters and the media to please tell the truth in their reporting, even if it means being fired or demoted at your job. I mean, there are times to do the right thing.
And this is that time. People are dying, and you have the power to help save these people by being responsible to our fellow human beings who are seeking to understand what is going on since their own government gave up on them and expected them to die.
Another factor in all of this is for the Chinese people out there who have yet to quit the Chinese Communist Party. We urge you more than ever to do so. The party is pure evil, and if you're still a part of it, it will only take you down a dark path.
Yes, there are greater forces at work here, and nothing happens without a reason. There is an evil force that wants to destroy humanity and the divine that wants to rescue it. Quit the party and be rescued in the light. Higher beings will begin to look after you guys.
And I mean, just look what they're doing to you guys right now. Do you really think they have your backs in any of this? Do you really think they care? I mean, you just never know. Maybe if you're Chinese and you have the virus or know someone with the virus in China, and if they quit, it's possible miracles may happen, and maybe even they will be healed.
The CCP is evil to its core and can't be saved. Its only option is to reform, but I don't even think it ever will. It is bent solely on achieving world power and will stop at nothing to get this, even if it means killing their own people in the process or lying to cover up their evil deeds.
Well guys, this is only part 1 of the series. There's so much we didn't get to. Like for instance, Ben, did you hear about the Taiwanese plane that the Taiwanese people wanted to get their people out of China to bring back to Taiwan?
So right before we filmed this, we just found out about this. So Taiwan sent a plane to Wuhan, China, specifically to get 500 Taiwanese people out of Wuhan. The agreement was China said, you can do this, but you have to have our own people employed on the plane. So Taiwan agreed to it. They came over. When the plane came back, they had 200 of Taiwanese people and
Chinese people.
Nationals. But these were the rich Chinese nationals.
The rich people paid off the government to get on the plane to get out of there, goes to Taiwan, and a few of them had the virus.
Yeah, and Taiwan still needs to send another plane back to get the other people, and guaranteed it's going to have another 200-300 people of Chinese nationals on that plane too. Right, and this gets more into eugenics and the deep state and everything else, and we're going to cover a lot of this in the next part of our episodes.
Yeah. You guys, so anyway, stay tuned for our next episodes on the coronavirus. It is just gonna get crazier, it seems, at this point, but we really hope that people in China stay safe. Also, guys, we'll get more into the science of the virus and how the bioweapons are made. Plus, is there an actual name of the person who created it in China? This is also starting to affect a lot more cities now, and new reports are coming out every hour, so we'll do our best to keep up with it. So stay tuned until next time, and with that,
we will see you guys out
on the edge
of the CCP's end.
I thought you were going to say beer. Yeah.
I want to talk about the biggest and the most important story in the world, the Wuhan coronavirus. This coronavirus is a catastrophe on the scale of Chernobyl for China, but actually it's probably worse than Chernobyl, which was localized in its effect. The coronavirus could result in a global pandemic. While you were all sleeping overnight, the number of diagnosed cases in China increased by 30%. Now, let me be clear, that's not new cases, that is just newly admitted cases. It is probably several orders of magnitude higher than that. Also, while you were sleeping, China now has its entire border with Russia closed. 2,600 miles, Russia has closed that border. El Al has shut down travel between Israel and China. Air France has shut down travel between China and France. And that's in addition to all the other countries that have already shut down travel. From what we know so far, and there's still many unknowns, this virus could have both a long incubation period, as much as 14 days, and individuals could be contagious while asymptomatic, which was not the case with SARS in 2003. Furthermore, from some cases, it appears the virus could be aerosolized, which means it doesn't require the kind of contact that you have with, say, a married couple kissing each other or a family living in close quarters in a hotel or apartment, but rather the distances we are all sitting apart right now. Yet China is still lying about all of this. They've been lying about it from the very beginning, and you don't need their history of lying about SARS in 2003, though it is relevant here. You just have to see what's happened over the last 2 months. We now know that the first case manifested no later than December 1, even though China didn't reveal it to the WHO until a month later on December 31st, when they continued to hide it from their own citizens. And they continued to say that it had been contained inside Wuhan. Today, it is in every single province in China. They also claimed for almost 2 months, until earlier this week, that it had originated in a seafood market in Wuhan, that locals had contracted it from animals in, say, bat soup or snake tartare. That is not the case. The Lancet published a study last weekend demonstrating that of the original 40 cases, 14 of them had no contact with the seafood market, including patient 0. As one epidemiologist said, that virus went into the seafood market before it came out of the seafood market. We still don't know where it originated. Could have been another seafood market. Could have been a farm. Could have been a food processing company. I would note that Wuhan also has China's only biosafety level 4 super laboratory that works with the world's most deadly pathogens, to include, yes, coronavirus.
This is according to Dr. Nancy Messenminer.
Mesonier.
Okay.
Chinese Defense Minister Gen Haotian said 20 years ago about, quote, "We are not as foolish." Oh, yeah. Okay, General.